What's going on, YouTube? Dorito here, and today we got our Tao Motor Jeep Go Kart. This is my daughter's Jeep. We've had it for several years. It's been a good runner. We've had no issues with it whatsoever, but it's sat. So today what we're going to do is we're going to show you guys how to replace the carburetor on it. It's a 110cc automatic engine with forward and reverse. Pretty basic carburetor. It's a PZ-25. What you're going to do is you're going to get your rack and your tank removed, which I'm going to do in another video that shows you guys how to replace your tank, because I'm going to replace that in the fuel filter, and I'll get that all removed. But then what you're going to do is it consists of two 10mm bolts, Phillips head, and a flathead screwdriver, and then you're going to unscrew your throttle connection and then put it right back in. And I'll show you guys how to do that, how to disconnect the choke and disconnect the throttle cable and everything like that. It should only take about 10 minutes. It's very basic to do. And all these videos, I'm just showing you guys how to go ahead and remove and replace this stuff. It's very easy to do stuff like this instead of paying somebody else to do it. So anyways, without any further ado, I'm going to put the camera up there and put a camera right there so it shows a blowed up view as well. So like I said, without any further ado, let's get on with it, shall we? All right, guys, we're back. Now that we got the tank off in the rack, it's just easier for me to show you guys this by pulling that, and I'm replacing the tank anyways. So we'll show you guys another video, and that will be up as well, probably before this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this carburetor, and we're going to put on this new one here. Now, as you see, there's a couple parts here, i.e. the choke, and then the fuel line, and then you also have another line right here, which is your vac. It's basically another vacuum line, and then you have your drain line here. I'll just be putting all that stuff on there and then getting right back into it. Okay, so first things first, what you're going to want to do is, get some gloves on or something like that, because it is a little messy. And it's just up to you whether you want to get yourself covered with gasoline or not. Okay, so get some gloves on and disconnect your fuel line first. Okay, so we've already pulled the fuel line for the tank, so there is going to be a little bit of fuel in here, but you're going to want to go ahead and just pull this guy up and then pull your line out. Okay, so I am going to spill a little bit of fuel, but it kind of is what it is, So I'm going to put this aside and stuff this over here. There we go. Okay, now that you got that pulled, you want to go on to your choke, and your choke is a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, and that is over on the side right here. You're going to want to just pull that little loose for now so you can disconnect the choke, and you can swap the part once you get the carburetor off. Okay, so you're going to swing this choke all the way out here, and then just pull this tab right through. Comes right up. Leave your choke setting right there so you know where it goes. Okay, so now that you got your choke disconnected, you want to go on to a flathead screwdriver and pull your air filter. Okay, so once you get your air filter, it says flathead screwdriver right here, flathead screw, pull that loose. Now I have loosened up the carburetor already in advance. You want to pull that guy out, just set that right there. Okay, so now that you've got that loose, you can use an impact, but this is your carburetor, so you want to go ahead and just take a 10mm ratchet, or ratcheting wrench is what I have, and just go ahead and get them loose. Once you get them loose enough, you're going to want to get those 10mm bolts out. Now remember the procedure that it all goes into, and you want to leave your throttle connected for now, because I'm not going to disconnect the throttle on the inside part. I'm going to use this housing as well and just drop it into place, so I don't have to try and set the needle or anything like that. It's already preset to this, and the needle isn't what gets clogged up on the carbodoodle. Okay, so now remember, you have an intake manifold gasket that goes in between there. You don't want to lose that, and you want to remember how that goes in there. So what you can do is pull that out, pull your carburetor out there, and put those two bolts in just to hold it into place. Okay, once you've done that, you want to take your carburetor out. Now you see that little ring there. You got to check your other carburetor. Make sure it has the ring as well too. And you want to match everything up to make sure it's the same. Okay, so, and this guy looks like it's a little bit bigger. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get this swapped and get right back to you guys. Okay. Okay, guys, we're back. And when I was getting ready to set the carburetor up side by side, I noticed this is actually a PZ-19, and this one right here is a PZ-25. So that's not going to work. So fortunately, I did have another carburetor. I have another PZ-19, but it's a manual choke instead of the corded choke. So we'll end up just zip tying this aside so we still have a carburetor swap going on there. And then maybe I'll rebuild that or get another one and put that back on later. But anyways, this is what we're going to use. So we'll get this one on and show you guys from there. So now that we got this situated right here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set this aside right here. And we're going to go ahead and just screw this carburetor on lightly first, okay? So you want to do that so you can get it into place. And the reason I haven't taken the throttle cable off, I'll show you guys why right now. You want to get that kind of semi-snugged up. You don't want to tighten it all the way down because you want a little bit of play there when you're connecting the other stuff. So let's get that done. Now, once you get that tightened up, what you want to do is you want to unscrew this right here. And there's going to be a spring in there, so keep that in mind. I want to take that spring out. And, you know, I think I messed up. I know I messed up. We'll pull that part out. Okay, what you want to do is you want to get your needle out as well too, okay? That's seated in there because, you know, I'm going to use the needle that was in the other carburetor because there's no damage to that. That's not wore up or wore out from the fuel or anything like that. So let me get this bolt back in here and going again. There we go. Oh, come on, guy, work with me. Let's get this loosened a little bit. There we go. Okay, we'll set that aside. Now remember, you want to remember the order that went in, and you could see on the side of the carburetor here, once I get this screwed in, you can see on the inside of the carburetor there's a slot on this side, okay? Now that's where that tube is going to go down. Now let me show you here once I get this situated. Okay, so you got the top, that's where the throttle enters. You got your spring that goes in between that, and then you got your needle in your seat, okay? So that's the way it's going to go in, but this line right here is going to slide straight down that side and drop all the way down. So you need to remember that once you take this carburetor off here, that's why I said you do it last. You want to disconnect that, and remember you have a spring in there and everything is connected, even your needle, okay? So once you get that out, you can take and set this carburetor aside and then drop your needle back in there. A lot of people may say, hey, you shouldn't do that. You should replace the whole thing. But you know what? I don't want to mess with the way it's been running. So it's been running great. It's just me. I didn't drain the fuel out of the carburetor for it being off season. Okay. So now that's reconnected. Now what you want to do after that is you want to go ahead and get your 10mm wrench. Okay. And you want to tighten these guys up. Once you get those tightened up, make sure it's all snug and everything's into place, okay? Let's go ahead and loosen this guy up a little bit here. Even that up. Okay, there we go. Okay, once you got that tightened up, you got your fuel drain on. Now all you got to do after that is connect your fuel line. Now I have pulled the tank off, so I did put a new fuel line and a new fuel filter on there. So you're going to go ahead and connect that. You got that all on. Then make sure, get it all the way down and seated. Once you do that, go ahead and clip on your little clip here and get that clipped on, okay? There we go. Now, once you got your clip on, you want to go ahead and take and put on your air filter, okay? You're on the downhill slide now, so once you get the air filter on, you should be able to reinstall your tank and put some fuel in it and start it right up. And that's something we're going to do in a minute. But let's go ahead and get this air filter on here. All right. Okay, so now you're going to take your choke and you can just go ahead and tie it back. I'll get some Velcro real quick. Tie that back. And now this is if you have to use a manual choke, that's what you're going to do. If not, hey, you know, you're on point and you just reconnect your choke, which is very, very simple. Like I showed you guys, it's one little screw. Okay? So instead of a choke that you reach over and use from the dash, there's a manual choke there, okay? So you just go ahead and take and use a zip tie or Velcro or something and put it right there. Keep that for the future, you know, because you don't want to pull that line out, okay? And here in California, for the most part, you don't really need a choke. So, okay, so we got our air filter on. We got our fuel line connected. We made sure our intake manifold was right and we bolted that up correctly. We also have our drain line connected as well. Okay, so now what you need to do after that is you need to put on your tank and put on your rack, and that's for another video. So what I'm going to do is get that back on, and then we'll go ahead and get some fuel in this thing, and we'll get a startup on it to show you guys the carburetor works. So I'll be right back with you guys, okay? Okay guys, we're back. Now we put the tank back on and we put the rack back on. That's for another video. So we got the carburetor connected. Like I said, we didn't have the dash choke with the choke cable. We didn't have that proper choke, so we put a manual choke on there. But we removed the air filter, we removed the carburetor, disconnected the fuel line. Now we did put a new fuel line in there as well as a fuel filter, and we swapped out the carburetor and we're ready to fire it up. I did already put some fuel in. I've already ran it through the filter. There is no leaks. So now we need to fire it up and make sure it works okay. I am not going to choke this. I'm just going to go ahead and start it right up and we'll see what it does. If I need to use the choke, I need to use the choke. And you may need to adjust the idle as well too. All right, so let's try this. Okay, that's good to go. Maybe turn the idle up a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. There, turn it up a little bit. That sounds better. Okay. All right, guys. So you may need to adjust the idle a little bit more after it warms up and stuff, and you know, you run some fuel through there. Otherwise that, it's good to go. Very simple thing to do. Takes you about 10 minutes to swap the carburetor, put a new carburetor on there. Total time, including with me swapping the tank, swapping the petcock, swapping the carburetor stuff, I think it took me a total of a half an hour, but I wanted to separate it in two videos for you guys because it doesn't take up that much time. So you could look, hey, how do I swap my tank? Boom, look at that directly, have no issues. Or hey, how do I swap my carburetor? Boom, right there, easy issue there. So this is the Tao Motor Jeep 110. It's an automatic Jeep. My daughter loves this. This is going on to my son as well too, and they're going to enjoy it. We're going to pull the pink unicorn off today as well too. She's going to go out for a drive as well with me in the passenger seat. The wife is going to let her go down the road, so I'm going to sit in there with her, and maybe we'll get a little clip of that. But I want to thank you guys for watching Luch Mob Garage. Don't forget to come back, and please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Peace. Was that fun? Yes. Tell the camera.
That was fun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the bell. Thanks for watching. Bye.